Good morning. Every day you wake up, you are given a choice. You can carry the weight of yesterday's doubts, or you can walk with the strength of someone who refuses to break. Success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who act as though the outcome is inevitable. You must act like nothing can break you, not because life won't test you, but because you've already made a decision. You will not quit. When you adopt a victory mindset, you stop asking, what if it goes wrong? And start saying, what if this is the moment everything changes? Everything starts in the mind. Before a goal is achieved, a race is won, or a deal is closed, the battle is fought and decided mentally. Success is not something you chase blindly. It is something you believe in so deeply that it begins to shape every action you take. The first and most critical step toward unshakable success is adopting the belief that you are built for it. Without this mental foundation, every challenge feels like a threat instead of an opportunity. You must condition your thinking to lead your result. Mindset is not one of the things, it is the thing. Most people never make this decision consciously. They drift through life, waiting for external proof before they allow themselves to feel confident. But here's the truth. If you wait to feel confident before acting, you'll never act at all. Confidence is not a feeling you wait for. It is a commitment you make. You have to decide with certainty that you are the type of person who does not break, who does not bend, and who does not back down in the face of pressure. When you think this way, you begin to act this way, and action shapes outcome. The victory mindset begins with clarity. Clarity about who you are, what you want, and what you're willing to do to achieve it. Without clarity, the mind becomes cluttered, distracted, and easily overwhelmed. When you are clear on your direction, you can afford to be flexible with your approach without losing sight of the goal. This clarity empowers your mindset to lead. Even when results are delayed, even when others doubt you, your inner compass remains strong. This is what gives you consistency, because mindset is stronger than mood. You must train your mind the way an athlete trains their body, daily. With intention, with repetition. You feed your mindset through the books you read, the people you listen to, and the language you use with yourself. Negative self-talk is poison. Cut it off. Speak powerfully, even when no one is listening, especially then, because the most important voice in your life is your own. When your inner voice speaks like a champion, you begin to act like one. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone with average talent outperform someone with twice the ability, just because they believed they could? That belief drove them to take more action, to be more persistent, and to recover faster from setbacks. Talent is a multiplier, but mindset is the base. If the base is cracked, it doesn't matter how gifted you are, but when the foundation is solid, when your belief is unwavering, you become a force that's very hard to stop. So begin with belief, not shallow optimism, but real conviction. Conviction that you were designed to win, not without struggle, but through it. That your challenges are not here to break you, but to sharpen you. When your mindset leads, your outcome follows. Mindset first, always. Because if you don't win the mental battle, you'll never get to the physical victory. In life, challenges are inevitable. They are not a question of if they will come, but when. The difference between those who succeed and those who falter in the face of adversity often comes down to how they respond to those challenges. Most people react to setbacks with panic, frustration, or avoidance. They let their emotions control them, allowing a temporary situation to dictate their long-term decisions. But resilience is about more than just withstanding hardship. It's about responding in a way that strengthens you, not breaks you. When you train yourself to respond with resilience, you stop being a victim of circumstances and start being the architect of your own fate. Resilience is a mindset, not a trait you're born with. It's developed through choice and practice. When things go wrong, your first response is crucial. If you react by getting overwhelmed, by focusing on what went wrong or why it can't be fixed, you begin a cycle of defeat. On the other hand, when you make a deliberate choice to stay calm, clear-headed, and solution-oriented, you break the cycle and take back control. This is the power of resilience. It's not about avoiding challenges, it's about facing them with composure and a focus on what's next, not what went wrong. The most resilient individuals aren't those who are unaffected by stress. They are the ones who have learned how to rise above it. They understand that the obstacle is never the end of the road unless you allow it to be. Challenges are simply moments in time that require a response. When you face a setback, you don't dwell on the setback itself. You don't let it define you. You ask, what can I learn from this? You ask, what steps do I need to take to get back on track? Your reaction to adversity shapes the trajectory of your life far more than the adversity itself ever could. Resilience comes with practice, and one of the best ways to practice is through deliberate exposure to discomfort. If you want to be resilient, you must embrace challenges instead of shrinking from them. You must seek out situations that push you to your limits and force you to grow. This doesn't mean taking unnecessary risks, but rather stepping outside your comfort zone regularly. By doing so, you become accustomed to the discomfort of uncertainty, the sting of failure, and the pressure of responsibility. Over time, these experiences forge a mindset of strength and perseverance that becomes second nature. One of the keys to resilience is maintaining perspective. When you're in the middle of a struggle, it's easy to get bogged down by the details. You focus on the pain, the failure, the difficulty, and in doing so, you lose sight of the bigger picture. Resilience requires the ability to step back, see the forest instead of just the tree, and remember that this is just one moment in a long journey. The setbacks you face today are not permanent. In fact, they often provide the most valuable lesson. When you maintain perspective, you can respond with patience, knowing that the challenge will eventually pass. Finally, resilience is about taking ownership. It's about acknowledging that regardless of external factors, you are responsible for how you respond. No one can force you to react in a certain way unless you allow it. Life doesn't always go according to plan, but you have the power to choose your next step. By taking ownership of your response, you empower yourself to move forward with strength and confidence. Resilience is a choice that determines whether you let obstacles define you or whether you redefine the obstacles in front of you. Confidence is often misunderstood as something you either have or you don't. But in reality, confidence is a skill. It's not a personality trait. It's a direct result of preparation. Think about the most confident individuals you know. Are they the ones who simply hope things will work out? Or are they the ones who've put in the hours, honed their skills, and taken the necessary steps to ensure their success? Confidence comes when you have the certainty that you are prepared, that you've done the work, and that you know exactly what to do when the moment of action arrives. Without preparation, there is no real foundation for confidence. It is a hollow illusion. When you prepare relentlessly, you remove the element of surprise and minimize the unknown. There is no room for doubt when you've put in the work. Every successful person has a clear vision of the tasks ahead of them, and they approach each one with a sense of preparedness. This doesn't mean knowing everything, but it means that you've anticipated potential hurdles, challenges, and setbacks, and you've equipped yourself with the tools necessary to overcome them. When you have the right preparation, you walk into any situation with the calm assurance that you've done everything possible to ensure success. Preparation also allows you to handle pressure effectively. We've all been in situations where we felt nervous, uncertain, or unsure about our ability. But these feelings diminish when you've prepared thoroughly. Pressure is simply the gap between your expectations and your preparation. The more prepared you are, the less pressure you feel. You're not guessing what to do next. You already know. The confidence you gain from that level of preparation is the type that can withstand even the toughest of circumstances. You become the person who thrives, not in spite of pressure, but because you've already conditioned yourself to rise above. Confidence through preparation also leads to a sense of control. Control over your circumstances, control over your actions, and control over your outcome. When you fail to prepare, you give up that control. You put your fate in the hands of chance. But when you've prepared, you're not relying on luck or external factors to determine your success. You trust yourself. You know that you've done everything within your power to achieve the desired outcome, and that internal assurance is the true source of lasting confidence. But preparation isn't just about technical skills or knowledge. It's about mental preparation as well. Confidence isn't built only by knowing what to do. It's also built by training your mind to handle whatever comes your way. This means practicing resilience, practicing calmness under pressure, and practicing focus. Mental preparation is just as important as the tactical and practical side of preparation. When your mind is trained to think clearly, stay focused, and take deliberate action, you increase your ability to perform under any condition, further solidifying your confidence. Finally, preparation gives you the ability to recognize opportunity. When you're not prepared, you're stuck reacting to life. But when you've equipped yourself with the right skills, knowledge, and mindset, opportunities become obvious. You see openings where others see barriers. You recognize chances to advance where others see obstacles. And because you're confident in your ability to capitalize on those opportunities, you act with decisiveness. Preparation doesn't just give you the confidence to face challenges, it gives you the confidence to seize the moment when it's time to act. Visualization is one of the most powerful tools for success. It's not just about dreaming or wishing for an outcome. It's about seeing in vivid detail the end result as if it's already happening. The human mind responds powerfully to images. When you visualize your success, you prime your brain to recognize the steps necessary to achieve that success. This is because the mind doesn't distinguish between a real event and one vividly imagined. When you see yourself succeeding, your mind starts to create the pathways and strategies that will allow that success to manifest in reality. Your visualizations become blueprints for your actions. The key to visualization is not simply to focus on the goal itself, but to feel the experience of success. Imagine the sense of accomplishment, the pride in your work, the joy of achieving your objective. This emotional connection strengthens the impact of your visualization. By attaching emotion to your goals, you create a deeper sense of motivation that fuels your efforts, even when faced with setbacks. It's not enough to see the finish line. You must experience it in your mind as though you've already crossed it. The clearer and more detailed your mental image, the more your actions align with that vision. However, it's not just the end goal that matters, it's the process. When you visualize success, you must also visualize the journey, the obstacles, and the work that comes with it. Most people skip this part, focusing only on the desired outcome. But the truth is, the road to success is rarely smooth. It's the ability to see yourself overcoming obstacles, rising above challenges, and pushing through moments of doubt that will set you apart. Visualization isn't just about basking in the glory of a future win. It's about mentally preparing yourself for the ups and downs along the way. When you focus on the outcome, you naturally shift your mindset from a problem-solving perspective to a solution-oriented one. If you focus on the wall in front of you, you'll only see barriers and limitations. But when you visualize the win, you start to look for the ways over, around, or through those obstacles. You begin to see opportunities in places where others see only challenge. By keeping your eyes on the prize and visualizing the steps that lead you there, you stay motivated even when progress feels slow or difficult. Your mind will begin to focus on solutions rather than dwelling on problems. Visualization also helps build the resilience needed to keep moving forward. The more you see yourself succeeding, the more you condition yourself to believe it's not just possible but inevitable. This belief becomes a powerful driving force. There will be times when things don't go as planned, and that's when your mental training becomes invaluable. Having a clear vision of success allows you to maintain perspective when things get tough. Instead of focusing on the momentary difficulties, you stay anchored to the bigger picture. This is how visualization can serve as a form of mental armor, protecting your motivation and focus when things get hard. What's important to remember is that visualization doesn't mean avoiding reality. It means preparing your mind for what's to come, and then using that mental preparation to fuel real-world actions. It's not about escaping the difficulties or pretending that obstacles don't exist. It's about preparing yourself mentally to face them head-on with confidence, knowing that you've already seen yourself succeed. When you visualize the win, your confidence grows, your actions become more intentional, and your ability to handle adversity improves. This clarity of purpose drives you forward, turning uncertainty into a map and obstacles into stepping stones on your path to success. Anxiety is a natural response to uncertainty, fear, and doubt. It often arises when we're faced with a decision, a challenge, or a situation that feels beyond our control. The more we dwell on the uncertainty, the more we feed our anxiety. We start to imagine worst-case scenarios. We question our abilities, and we begin to hesitate. But here's the truth. Anxiety is born from inaction. It's not the challenge itself that causes anxiety. It's the lack of movement, the stagnation, the overthinking. The longer you wait, the more your mind spirals, amplifying your fears and insecurity. But when you take action, you disrupt this cycle. You replace worry with momentum, fear with focus, and hesitation with progress. The moment you take the first step, the noise of anxiety begins to quiet. This is because action shifts your mind's focus from what if to what's next. You stop dwelling on hypothetical situations and start dealing with the present reality. Instead of imagining the worst, you begin to experience the actual process. The problems you face, the decisions you make, the lessons you learn. This immediate engagement helps you realize that most of the fear you've been feeling is based on imagined scenarios, not real ones. Taking action proves to you that you are capable, and it shows your mind that you can handle whatever comes your way. The power of action lies in its ability to break the grip of overthinking. Anxiety thrives when you give it attention, when you mull over a decision, overanalyze every possibility, and question yourself repeatedly. Action, on the other hand, forces you to act despite the uncertainty. It says, I don't have all the answers, but I'll figure it out as I go. Action is about trusting yourself to navigate through the unknown, and each step you take builds confidence and clarity. You begin to see that the path forward is not as daunting as it seemed when it was just a thought in your mind. One of the biggest barriers to taking action is the fear of failure. We often hesitate to move forward because we're afraid of making mistakes or facing rejection. But here's the key. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's a necessary part of the process. Each mistake you make is an opportunity to learn, grow, and refine your approach. In fact, when you take action, failure becomes less of a threat and more of a feedback mechanism. It's no longer something to be feared. It's something to be embraced as part of your growth journey. The more you act, the more you prove to yourself that setbacks are just stepping stones. Taking consistent action also builds resilience. Each time you act, you demonstrate to your mind that you can endure challenges and recover quickly. Anxiety often stems from the fear that we won't be able to handle difficulties. But when you act, you show your mind that challenges are not insurmountable. You can adapt, you can pivot, and you can keep moving forward. This builds an internal sense of strength and resilience that makes it easier to face the next challenge with confidence. Over time, your ability to take action without hesitation becomes a powerful antidote to anxiety. Moreover, action fuels progress. It's easy to feel stuck when you're overwhelmed by the magnitude of a goal or the complexity of a situation. The more you analyze and think about the obstacles in front of you, the larger they seem. But action reduces the distance between where you are and where you want to be. Even small steps forward create momentum, and this momentum is what propels you toward your goal. As you act, you begin to see the results of your efforts, no matter how incremental, and this reinforces your belief in your ability to succeed. Action turns uncertainty into progress, and progress makes anxiety irrelevant. When life presents you with a challenge, the first thing to recognize is that it's not a signal of your weakness. It's an opportunity for growth. So often, we perceive obstacles as things that have the power to break us, to knock us down and leave us defeated. But the truth is, the only way to truly break is to allow yourself to believe that you can't rise again. In reality, every difficulty you encounter is a chance to become stronger, more resilient, and more capable. You don't break when you face challenges. You build. You build a foundation of wisdom, resilience, and confidence that will carry you further in the future. The process of building begins the moment you shift your perspective from seeing challenges as threats to recognizing them as lessons. Every setback, every failure, every moment of adversity has something valuable to teach you. When you approach difficulties with this mindset, you stop viewing them as obstacles to your success and instead see them as building blocks of your character and capability. This shift in perspective changes everything. Instead of being crushed by the weight of a problem, you learn to use it as material for personal growth, strengthening your foundation for the next step forward. One of the most powerful ways you build is through resilience. Resilience is not just about surviving difficult times, it's about using those times to improve yourself. It's about bouncing back, but not just to where you were before. You bounce back stronger, smarter, and more experienced. When you face adversity with a resilient mindset, you stop being a passive victim of your circumstances. You take an active role in your response. You use your failures and setbacks as feedback, not as final judgments on your ability. This way you are constantly building, no matter how difficult the journey may seem. When you face hardships, it's easy to get caught up in the feeling that everything is falling apart. It's easy to assume that you've lost your way or that you're not equipped to handle the challenges ahead. But the key to building, rather than breaking, is in your response. You can choose to give in to despair and self-doubt, or you can choose to rise, to push forward, and to build a better version of yourself. The process of growth doesn't always feel comfortable, and it's often filled with moments of uncertainty and discomfort, but it's precisely in those moments that you are shaping yourself into the person you need to become to achieve your goal. Each challenge you face adds another layer to your growth. Think of it as forging a steel sword. The process of heating, hammering, and cooling is intense, even painful at times, but it's what creates the strength of the steel. The same applies to you. Every struggle you encounter is an opportunity to forge your character. You refine your skills, enhance your abilities, and solidify your mental toughness through each challenge. It's not about avoiding difficulty, it's about using it to make yourself stronger. As you continue to overcome obstacles, you build a personal history of success that becomes the foundation of your confidence. The most important thing to remember is that no matter how difficult the situation, You are always in the process of building. The only time you truly break is when you stop trying, when you allow failure to define you rather than teach you. Building takes time. It requires effort, persistence, and a commitment to keep going even when things feel impossible. But each day that you choose to keep going, each day that you choose to face your challenges head on, you add to the structure of your success. You don't break, you build. And with each challenge you overcome, you become a more unshakable force in the world. So as you go forward, remember this: you are not defined by the challenges you face, but by how you respond to them. Every moment of adversity is a chance to prove to yourself just how unbreakable you truly are. With the right mindset, preparation, resilience, and action, you become a force that nothing can stop. You don't break, you build. You build your confidence, your resilience, your strength, and your character with every step you take, no matter how hard the road seems. Keep your eyes on the vision, stay committed to the process, and know that each challenge is simply another opportunity for you to grow stronger. So when life pushes you to your limits, don't retreat, don't back down. Instead, rise to the occasion and show the world that you are unshakable. You've got everything it takes to overcome any obstacle, face any challenge, and achieve anything you set your mind to. The victory is already yours, because you have already decided that nothing can break you. Now go forward and build the life you deserve.